Hi all, my name is Adrian. For those of you that don't know me, my background is in biotechnology, originally from Ireland, but then I went and did a PhD in synthetic biology in the University of Sheffield. Since there, I've been working kind of in the data and AI world. I wanted to make this video as a chance to share a side project I've been working on called SmartGP. It's basically a AI healthcare assistant tool for not just GPs, but anyone that kind of has a consultation. But the idea behind it is to help people record the conversations that they're having, summarize those into notes, and then actually provide assistance in helping diagnose patients or write referral letters, reducing both the administrative burden but also the decision burden on doctors or nurses or any clinical people, feeling like kind of all the pressure is on them. I think a lot reassurance is a very good thing. The reason I decided to make it was number one for learning. It's a fully AI driven app. It's got 5 different AI tracks in it. But also, I've seen the stress that my fiance, who is a GP, has been under with 10-minute appointment times, and in that 10 minutes, expected to be consulting with a patient, writing notes for the patient, and also documenting anything post consultation as well in those 10 minutes. She quite often felt like patients didn't get all the attention they deserved because there's so much time pressure in such a short period. It also was partially came from my own health journey. I went through the NHS because I had high iron levels that I got a blood test result for. I then went and got another blood test with the NHS that again showed high iron levels, and I was referred to a hospital. And all this whole process took about 1.5 years, 2 years until I actually got the referral letter response back. I was very lucky to have private health insurance and could leave the NHS system, but I wanted to build something that maybe, if it was a good idea, would have helped people get diagnosed quicker with maybe lesser known conditions. So this is SmartGP. It's a very simple UI because it wasn't built for people logging in or anything. There's light mode and dark mode. I'm going to switch it to dark mode because I don't like light mode. But basically, yeah, just a very simple UI where the idea is that it would have been a web portal that you log into or you see. Then you just click get microphone, and then you can click the green button, which will be demonstrated in a bit, to start a conversation. There's not really much to talk about here. The system status is because it's a proof of concept. This is where it's talking to my fast API backend and getting constant updates of where the deep learning models are, because I have different tracks that I have to load and unload because of GPU capacity. I just needed to know where it is for my own sanity while I was developing it. The other big feature of this is, as I said, giving clinical decision makers kind of some backup, is that you can ask questions about the patient and write referral letters. But I'll talk through this all in the demonstration. It is actually a live demonstration that I've decided to go through with this. So you'll see all the prototype-ness of it, that when I say ARN, it thinks I'm saying or N because of my accent, I think. But yeah, it's obviously something that could be improved if it was a real enterprise grade system. But I thought it was important to show it actually functioning. And also you'll get some pretty bad acting from me, and also some time skips so that you don't have to watch it loading on my local desktop.
Hi, my name's Fran. I'm one of the doctors here at surgery. Would you mind just confirming your name for me?
Yeah, of course. My name's Adrian.
Hi, Adrian. Nice to meet you. If you don't mind, I'm just going to record our conversation actually for SmartGP, so it can kind of summarise the notes, and I can kind of ask any questions that I need to. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Perfect. So I'll just click record on that now. There we go. Fine. So what is it that I can help you with today?
I had a blood test about 6 months ago that showed some strange results. I had an iron serum level that was quite high, and the recommendation from the blood test was to get another blood test done in about 6 months' time, which I got done with the GP practice.
Fine. Okay. So what was the first set of blood tests done for?
It was I got it for my fiance for my birthday. It was to test like how healthy I was and fitness, blood test biomarkers, but it showed that my serum ferritin levels were above 500 nanograms per liter, I think.
Okay. And were the rest of the results, can you think of anything particularly that was out of range as well?
No, there was nothing else out of range.
Just the serum iron. And when you had those blood tests done, were you feeling well in yourself?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
No infections, coughs, colds?
No, not at all.
Okay, fine. So it was just this kind of random result that we weren't expecting. Okay, so you had the last ones done a week or so ago, did you say?
Yeah.
And again, were you feeling well when they were done?
Yeah, absolutely fine.
Absolutely fine. Okay. So those results, again, I've just got them here in front of me now. So the serum iron has actually gone up. It's gone to 600 now. And we did another blood test called the transferrin saturation, and that's quite high as well, more than 60%. So again, showing that the iron is really quite high. Generally, how have you been in yourself over the past few months?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty okay. I'm a little bit fatigued sometimes, and I keep getting chest infections every like 2 or 3 months, which is a little bit weird. But apart from that, I've been relatively okay.
Okay. And how long do you think it's been going on, kind of this fatigue and the chest infections?
Not for that long, maybe like a year.
Okay. And can you think of anything else that changed around that time that could have caused these things?
Not at all.
No. And generally, would you say you're quite fit, healthy person?
Yep.
Do you have any other medical conditions at all?
I take lansoprazole for GERD as well.
Okay, fine. And any family history of any, problems with iron, high iron?
No, I don't think so.
No. And whereabouts are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from the west of Ireland, Mayo.
Okay, fine. Okay, and besides kind of the fatigue, chest infections, any other symptoms you can really think of?
No, not at all.
No. Okay. I'll be completely honest, I'm not entirely sure what is going on at the minute, kind of what could be causing, the symptoms. So I will have a bit of a think, do some research, and we can come back and take it from there. Does that sound okay with you?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. All right.
So, sorry about that pretty poor performance, but the idea is then that Fran, if she had questions about me as a patient or wanted to summarize my notes, the idea is then that she can click process recording, and in the back end, the SmartGP application will first of all convert the speech data to text, and then it will summarize that speech data into medical notes. I've used speaker diarization to split the speakers into different people in the room to try and conserve that patient-doctor relationship. Or also I was thinking about edge cases where a parent comes in with a child and there's 3 people in the room, so it actually automatically tries to figure out how many people to separate the audio into. This can, because it's running locally, will take quite a while, so I'll speed up the segment from here. You can see that for this proof of concept model, I've made a system status button so that stuff is happening. But yeah, I'll continue on with the explanation once this is finished. So now that the video is finished, we can see the result. Obviously, it's not perfect, and it always thinks I'm saying orn instead of arn, and I think it's my accent, but it's always stuff that we can work on. It's got quite a lot of the information that we were looking. So initially it captured that I had an elevated iron serum level. The patient received a blood test as a gift from their fiance for their birthday, which included tests for general health and fitness as well as biomarkers. The blood test showed an iron serum level of above 500 nanograms per liter. Now this is where it gets interesting because it's not inferring. It should have actually been micrograms per liter. I missaid when I was speaking, and then it's assumed in the next part that it's 600 nanograms per liter as well. Um, and then it captured my bit about being a patient that experienced fatigue and recurrent chest infections over 2 to 3 months. And I have no medical conditions or family history of iron-related issues. I'm generally fit and healthy with no significant changes in their lifestyle or habits that contribute to the symptoms. And I'm awaiting further investigation and treatment for their symptoms with the doctor, who is planning to conduct additional research before scheduling a follow-up appointment. So the idea behind this is that obviously Fran presented a scenario where she was a little bit confused. So she would be able to go to this chatbot that I would add a nicer icon for, and then she would be able to ask a question about the patient. So let's ask, what could be causing the high iron levels in this patient? And then again, you get the loading screen, which is just showing that it's operating with the back end. But I've also got the system status to show exactly where it's up to in the process. What I tried to do to make this as big a learning experience for myself as possible was each part is kind of constructed differently. So the question and answering part of it, this part, it does a few things. So the first thing it does is when you ask it a question, it decides different categories. So I specified categories as soft or hard. Soft questions are where you're not asking about a patient specifically, but just a general query like, why is the sky blue? It will answer it in a different way than if you're asking about a patient. This was done in consultation with Fran quite a lot because I wanted to see what would be useful for her in a clinical scenario. The other thing that it does is the first thing it does when you ask it a question, it categorizes. And then what it does is it writes a Google search query, and that Google search query goes and gets relevant information based on whatever the AI thought was a good query search. It will pull some relevant information so it can collect more detail and give the AI more context. What it then does is it gets the category that was decided, the relevant search results that were obtained, and then it also gets the system prompt that I've given it on how to answer these questions. The answers are very, very structured at the moment. So I tried out several different things in this instance. I tried out a fine-tuned large language model on medical consultation data. It ended up talking to itself quite significantly, so it wasn't very useful. So I've just used a general one. And then the structure, I've just given it so that it tries to make it more readable for the user. So in this instance, it's diagnosed me with hemochromatosis. But there is other potential diagnoses that are very important. And Fran said it's important to always know what other things it could potentially be. So it also suggests those. And then the symptoms are basically what could you be experiencing if you have hemochromatosis, which the big one is fatigue, reoccurring chest infections, which I had. I don't have joint pain, luckily, and skin discoloration usually happens when you're much, much older. So important testing to consider is genetic testing for hemochromatosis, which is something that I've undergone. Serum iron and ferritin levels is something that I've had. Complete blood count is something that I've also had. Liver function tests, I'm very lucky in that my hemochromatosis was picked up at such a young age. My liver won't have been damaged and my heart won't have been damaged. So I actually haven't had to undergo some of these. And then the main treatment for hemochromatosis is phlebotomy or bloodletting, usually at a frequency of once a week when you initially start, and then you just have to donate blood every 2 to 3 months for the rest of your life. And then, of course, just to make it seem like a real AI assistant, I then added the ability for it to say, as an AI assistant, my responses should be verified by a healthcare professional. So the other part that Fran said would be really useful is documentation. So you have your patient summary notes here, not perfect, but you can actually change them if you want as well, if any of the details were wrong. The idea that it's just a copy and paste text box at the moment is that I wouldn't imagine this taking systems over from the NHS, just being used in supplement with. So the idea is that you would be able to copy and paste from here into that. But yes, the other part is the referral letter and documentation. Writing letters apparently takes quite a long time, and again, it's something that's expected to be done within the 10 minutes. So there is another function in the chatbot, which is to write a referral letter. Who's a referral letter addressed to? I'll just use my own name. To which hospital? We'll use Derby. Hi, what aspect of the patient summary needs referring? High iron serum levels. And what specialty does the patient need referring to? We'll go with hepatology, if I can spell it. And then it will say, thank you, generating referral letter again. And again, you'll see the loading dots. What this is doing is it's using actually a completely different structure of AI in my backend. So this is using a little vector RAG architecture that I've created that is built on good notes for doctors to write referral letters and notes. And then what it does is using the vector database, it uses anything that it finds similar from the vector database to try and construct a relatively short letter for you, just to save you a little bit more time. If this was a real thing, I would expect it to be a lot quicker than it currently is, but because it's currently running on my local desktop, I actually don't think it's doing too bad for how much stuff it's able to do. But yeah, I'll just let this finish up and then we'll go through the referral letter. Okay, perfect. So, because the AI specifically tries to not take in people's names, and my age wasn't asked in the consultation, it's left it as 2 blocks for the person to fill in. That's based on my instructions. Some stuff that I've tried to do on a patient privacy point of view is the recording that you record gets deleted straight away after the AI processing is finished. The only thing that's presented is the notes at the front end, and then everything is gone. There is no data storage. The letter says, Dear Adrian, or Dr. Adrian, I'm writing to refer a patient name, a age-year-old male for further evaluation, management of high iron levels. The patient presented with fatigue and recurrent chest infections over the past year, which were initially attributed to being a little bit fatigued sometimes and getting chest infections every 2 or 3 months. However, subsequent blood tests revealed an elevated ORN serum level above 500 nanograms per liter, with most recent test results showing an increased level of 600 nanograms per liter. So you can see it's not perfect, but actually what it's done is it's taken the patient summary that the recording has used, put it to the large language model that is also got the ability to retrieve and use good writing practices from the internet, and then has tried to construct a letter of what it would find as useful for a doctor. And then again, this is just a thing that you can copy and paste and then close. So my next steps with this actually are, I kind of want to finish it up soon because I spent quite a long time on it. It's very easy to become very involved in it and try and get it to be perfect, but I think I've learned quite a lot of stuff already. My last goal with it is it's now Dockerized, and I'm using Docker Compose to orchestrate the front end and the back end. And I've got some free AWS credits, so I want to basically publish this to AWS and let people have a play around with it, because I think it's a pretty cool thing to have made. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this if you've made it to the end of it. And if you have any questions or would like to connect about any of this cool stuff, yeah, just let me know.